Solitary confinement.
We wrote the book Letters to Our Sons. I have documented research and proof of what happens inside these prisons' walls. The research not only contains prisoner accounts, but it includes experiences of law enforcement, correction officers, activists, and other organizations.
This has been completely unscripted. They had no advanced knowledge of the questions I was about to ask. We chose to use Zoom video conferencing software. The connections you're about to see are based on the individual's access to technology and internet connections in the areas in which they live.
Solitary confinement.
It sounds to me like the three of you here experienced extended time in solitary confinement. There was obviously a point where you had to go from solitary back into the regular prison population. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Wasn't that transition very difficult?
The only thing that was difficult for me, I was glad to be out. I was running around. I mean, it changed me. You know, I was running around. I was free, so I wasn't in that cell locked behind that door, so I was just running around like a chicken with his head cut off. Only thing I hated was when it was lockdown time and I had to go back behind the door. Made me think about being back in that 3-year confinement cell again.
But I did one thing I can honestly say, that when I did get out the hole, that I did appreciate, you know, that extent of freedom opposed to being, you know what I'm saying, in the hole. You know, so sometimes you have to, you know, it's a saying, you know, that I use and I pass on to people, like, you know, it's a juice worth the squeeze. And what that means is, you know what I'm saying? If all you're going to do is get like a little swallow out of this, was it worth all the trouble?
I'm gonna tell you what I feel like. I feel like, okay, like I said, I did it 3 years before I even got released to population, right? So in that 3 years, like I lost contact with so many people, so many family members that when I got to the yard, now it's like, okay, I'm thrown out here to survive by myself. 20 years old, been in confinement since I was 17. Barely got contact with the outside world because they made that sure that was possible from the 2 envelopes a month. So now it's like I gotta survive by myself until I figure out a way to get back in contact.
What was your life like before you got incarcerated, James?
A middle class family. I said crime area. I was still in school. I was a B student in school. I was about to go to college. I say it was. I mean, I was in a violent area. I was in a violent area, but I mean, it didn't deter me from. I was going to school and I was about to go to college. I had to fill out my paperwork to go to college.
Did you have any reference in your immediate, you know, in your life, in your young life at that time, of what prison life could be like?
Movies, but it ain't. Movies don't tell you.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So in other words, you didn't have anybody in your immediate circle that you knew that had been in prison for a long time, or, you know, experienced, you know, a long incarceration, whatever, you know.
No, I had nobody like that talked to me about it or anything like that. No.
So you went from this to committing a crime and being thrown into solitary?
I went from that to being locked up and thrown straight into solitary.
How common is that?
How common is
nowadays?
Like, you know, just coming, you know, going right into prison and going into solitary.
But nowadays, it isn't as common as it was then, because whenever I was in, the people that was in with me, we did so much fighting and resisting against it that now they can't do that no more. They can't just. It's a certain time length that they're gonna have to put you in there for. They can't just do that like that no more. They threw me in there with no time left. I don't know when I'm coming out. I didn't know 3 years from then that I would be released. I didn't know when I was gonna be released. Yeah, basically I ain't had nowhere to release my energy at. I mean, I was basically all day inside of the building. You know, we never went outside. So everything that you had to do, you had to find something to do in the inside. And I was young. I was around a bunch of wild people, so I adapted to my environment. and like I said, I had to survive. I had to make it for myself. So
when you're in solitary, do they give you anything? Do you have anything to read? Can you write? What are you provided with when you are in solitary?
Well, when I was in Supermax, they let us go to the library. I think we could get a book from the library, 2 books from the library a month. That's what they did, and one of them had to be a law book. So you get a law book and a regular book per month.
The very bare minimum.
Yeah.
These things are put in place just so that
you don't feel comfortable.
Not just that, legal wise, they could say, okay, you know, when you bring up the issue of dehumanization, they say, okay, well, we're giving them this, we're doing this, so it's not inhumane behavior. What about the torment from the correction officers?
What do you mean? Speak to me about that. What do you mean? They torment you?
Man, they torment you. They torment, you know, they really torment you. You're nobody to them. They might mess with your mail. You might not get your mail if you're on the wrong side of them, if they don't like you. You know, your reason for being in solitary confinement might have been an incident with another correction officer. They're going to continue to abuse. They're going to continue to abuse. They're going to, you know, just so much stuff. You know, when you asked earlier about, you know, what have we seen and experienced, you know, you got, that takes people to the level of suicide. You know, I've seen people be willing to attack the correction officers, knowing they're going to get beat half to death. But their rationalization is be like, I'll get out this cell, I'm going to the hospital for a couple of days. You know what I mean? That's what that do to you. You just want to get out of that cell. So you're willing to take, you know, get your skull half cracked open just to get to the hospital. And that this is some people's rationalization because they mentally can't function.
Do you feel there's any usage for it, or do you feel they overuse it? What's your thinking with
it
this?
Depends how you implement it. In prison, segregation is needed. It's needed. But if you're gonna put somebody away, it means you're only addressing the behavior. Okay, now let's go to the, you know, if you're gonna put this, if he did something violent, let's address these issues therapeutically. Okay, you need to do this. You need to address why you go off like that. Why you felt you need to do this or stab somebody, or you know, whatever it is. I mean, it's hard to exercise the normal coping skills that in society that any normal individual would exercise. You know what I mean? I mean, you can't put somebody in a violent environment and say, don't be violent. And then if he was to, you know, find himself in a violent situation, you punish him for it. You know? It has to be addressed differently. And not just throwing somebody in the cage and say, you know, hey, you're going over there for 18 months, you're going over there for 2 years. You're doing this, you're doing that, you know? Because they have to justify why they have that there. So they got to keep the cells filled.
Watch more episodes. Buy the book, Letters to Our Sons, now available on Amazon. This series is produced, directed, and edited by Edge City Design. Interviewer is Patty Meyer. Technical advisor is John Gilbert of Videotech Global.
This is From Within. www.fromwithinseries.com.